I'm Z Wade, the Z Wade, and Z Wade Photo, and it's time to do an edit. But I can't do any editing until I have a good cup of coffee. Shameless plug, the sponsor of this video is Coffee Bros, and you should definitely check out Honey Medina. Link will be in the description. So the image we're doing today happens to be one of my most savage edits ever. The absolute epitome of awesome and doing everything wrong and it coming out right, which is totally my style. Learn the rules and then break them. This image was shot on the Nikon Z8 with the Nikkor Z 85mm f1.2, and our artificial lighting was the Godox 8400 Pro. In this particular experimental shot, I illuminated our subject Angela from kind of behind and to the side. And I do this all the time now. With the setup out of the way, let's get into the edit. The first thing we always have to do is look for any abrasions or anything like that that we might want to get rid of. And due to the nature of this image, we actually don't need to do anything. So we can go right in with our regular editing. Let's give this a little exposure. Let's give it some contrast. Lots of contrast. I like the bright highlight, so I'll leave that alone for now. Let's actually darken the shadow. Hit it with some whites. Pull down the blacks. Clarity. Dehaze. We're gonna pull the texture a little bit to soften it. Now what I don't like is how bright it is right here. And so I'm going to take a linear gradient and I'm going to pull this across to where it just barely starts to hit Angela. I'm going to pull that down. Cool. We got some of that harshness taken care of. Now I'm going to add a radial gradient. This is how I do my vignettes. I never do the vignettes down here. I never do this. I like to have control over my vignette. And once we lay down that radial gradient, we're going to hit invert. And then I'm going to pull that in a little bit, really isolating our subject. All right, but we are actually not done yet. I actually don't like the absurdity that is this orange. And there's a couple ways we can go about that. We can try to add some coolness. And I actually love that. And let's go down to our color mixer here. And let's just see what happens if we pull the oranges a little bit. It's a little too aggressive, just a tad. Let me find out exactly what this is. This is orange and a little red. Pull that down a little. Ah, that's looking so sick. A little brightness. Pull the highlights a tad. All right, a little aggressive on the shadows. I actually think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to grab a brush. I'm going to desaturate this brush a little bit. Pull the saturation, and I'm gonna come in here and do this manually. Like that. And pull the exposure down. That looks pretty well blended. Let's get in here real close and take a look. Make my brush a little bigger. Come in here. You don't want to go too crazy. If you go too crazy, yeah, we're just at negative 0.35. It will start to do that. And see how dumb that looks? Just gonna brighten that just a little. Boom. Oh, that looks so savage. I'm gonna see if there's a little bit more we can do, and I think there is. Let's go to our select people. And let's see what Lightroom identifies as close. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. We're going to refine that a little bit because it's kind of showing us a little bit of the tattoo. We don't want that. We're just going to erase that by doing the subtract brush. Let's get that taken care of. I probably don't need it up here. Definitely don't need it down here. Let's kind of kill this a little. And let's see what happens here. That's pretty good. It's doing a little silly right here. Let's refine that a little bit. I just want to take another brush on its own. Let's give the brush some exposure. And I just want to paint these kind of highlight areas here. That's a little aggressive there. I don't like that as much. Get rid of that. I think we already hit this. And this right here looks a little too bright, and so I'm gonna grab a new brush and paint that, and I'm just gonna dull that out a little bit. Pull that down. There you go. It's a little less distracting, but I kind of don't like it there at all. Now that I look at it, I just kind of don't like it. So just kind of paint that in. Got a little bit of bleed. We can clean that up pretty easy. We're gonna have to grab another one to get the rest of it. Yeah, much less distracting. Cool. We're gonna go back to the clothes real quick. I want to see if I can get a little more light in the clothes just by playing with shadows. I totally can. Go ahead and do a subtract brush, and we're just going to kind of refine the edges of it so it doesn't bleed. There we go. Oh my gosh, that's so sick. There might be a little bit we can do right here just to kind of brighten up the lips a little bit. Let's go ahead and just give that a little. I probably don't want it on that highlight though. It's a little aggressive on that highlight. Let's give that a little exposure. Don't like that too much. That's okay. You have to try things to know that they work. That one didn't work. It's totally fine. I'm pretty happy with that. That looks sick. In all honesty, we actually didn't do a ton to this image. It was just a little refinement, kind of quick adjustments. And that is what happens when you have a really, really good initial shot. This is what it looked like before and after. It's really just implementing my style onto the image. And my style is totally defined really by my own eyes as I'm kind of going along. Something I do want to try real quick, I kind of want to try some of my presets that I built. This is Grave Digger. It looks pretty cool. If I was just going for like a one-click kind of feel, Black Tar Heroic is looking ultra spooky. And I get it, this doesn't look natural. This isn't what our model looks like. But when we're talking style, it is ultra spooky. And I kind of freaking like it. I would also say that this preset habanero is kind of savage as well. Invert that, pull that in. A little bit of a linear gradient. And on this one, I think I would probably just individually brighten this highlight area. And turn my auto mask on here. And I would repeat everything else, the darkening of this area, but just the color style of this one is pretty awesome. Thank you for watching. Check out today's sponsor, Coffee Bros, in the description for an excellent cup of whole bean coffee. I'm Z Wade, the Z Wade, and Z Wade Photo. Stay sharp, YouTube.